Hi everyone, it's time for the video of the week, and I don't really have a plan for this week. I don't have anything to say, really. I don't have anything to present to you, but our subscriber numbers have been creeping up. Thank you. I would appreciate anyone giving us a like and subscribe if they stumble upon us. People have also been watching the videos and finding the podcast because the podcast videos are going up. So that's good. That's a plus. That will happen every week as well. Yeah, which is great. There's just a little back catalogue on there, which is easier than some of the podcast providers that just give you a certain number of episodes and then your back catalogue disappears. So people stumble upon us and think we've been going for 4 or 5 months when we've been going for 6.5, 7 years now. Yeah, I mean, we've not improved anything at all, but there you go. We've been consistent in our low-grade podcasting. So if you do nose around the back catalogue, that's always appreciated as well. And you may find 1 or 2 gems in there. We did our Crow special, so we covered the Crow Salvation, the Crow Wicked Prayer, and the pilot episode of the Crow Stairway to Heaven. And as you'll know if you listen to the episode, I rewatched the Crow City of Angels, which Tyler really likes and I really don't. But it was certainly an episode full of opinions, and particularly Tyler opinions, and they can seem quite contrary to the majority opinion, and that's always fun. It's sometimes bizarre, but it is always fun. I think Tyler always puts forward his case well, setting out his stall. If you know his taste, if you know his preferred aesthetic, you know what he likes, you know why things will appeal to him. I disagreed with both Tyler and Dave completely on the merits of David Boreanaz in the Crow Wicked Prayer. So it was interesting to just have 2 such different viewpoints on that. You know, anyone else agree with me that he's terrible in that, or did you all have fun with that performance? Anyway, being contrary, as I've said a number of times, isn't what we do for the sake of being contrary, though. And having any conversation starter here or on the podcast is exactly for that reason, for starting conversation, not for... We actually don't set out to stir the pot or anger people, whether they're listeners or viewers. I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not a deliberate move on our part. And I'm reminded of this now. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week. I saw someone mentioning the, I think it was maybe the Acolyte. It was a Star Wars show anyway, and they were going to do something about it. And they knew their opinion would draw a lot of criticism. I think they said something about the trolls coming out, and they then said, you know, but it's all engagement. It's to do with driving traffic, etc. And yeah, that just doesn't appeal to us. Like, we definitely did our Crow special because The Crow was coming out, this new take on it. Tyler was very keen to see The Crow, this new version. Dave got along to see it. I didn't manage to see it yet. So, you know, we're not against the idea of tying our picks or our theme to something that is current and relevant, and that may get us an extra hit or 2 with people stumbling on our show or wanting to check out different opinions on the films that we cover. But, like, that's always kind of secondary to how we plan the shows. We, you know, we do 1 special a month. I think we'll be doing 2 this month because the special just dropped on the 1st of September, and we'll be able to squeeze one at the end of the month. Yeah, we do that. Other times we are just picking movies, and I will pick a lot of movies from my own collection to force me to watch them. Tyler will pick a lot of movies from his own collection to give himself an excuse to revisit them. Dave will pick movies that a lot of the time he really hopes that other people should find out about and explore. Craig will often pick movies to laughingly hurt us, but sometimes it's also because he enjoys them in a way that's similar but also removed from Tyler. So that's what we do, and sometimes one of those movies will be a new release, as was the case with Hundreds of Beavers, which I knew wouldn't really be up Tyler's alley, but I was keen to join in on the conversation with that, and I certainly thought some of us would enjoy it more than Tyler. Also, as I mentioned on that episode, if you've seen and enjoyed Hundreds of Beavers, or you've just been curious to check it out with all the praise, do check out, I think it's just called The Late Michigan Monster. And I picked that up as a blind buy from Arrow Video a couple of years ago. And it is the same director. I can't recall the credits off the top of my head, if it's the same director, if the cast is the same. It's more, let's think, it's more in line, sort of, with stuff like The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra, the kind of particular B-movie type spoof, but it's very well done, and if you liked Hundreds of Beavers, you should like Michigan Monster. So, yeah, I think that's it for this week. It's going to be a short one. I'm not going to draw it out. There has been a lot of stuff I've seen recently that I've had very varied reactions to. They will be timed to appear on my blog with the reviews, and also will mention them on the podcast if I remember. If you're in the UK, Kinds of Kindness is now on Disney Plus. If you're in America, I think it's dropped on Hulu. So if you like the work of Yorgos Lanthimos, then that is arguably the most Lanthimos movie to ever be Lanthimosed. So bear that in mind, and you can give that a go. I think that's it. That's everything. Sorry there are no treats to display. I'm sorry if the conversation went over some things that I've mentioned before, but it's quite interesting. It's always interesting to keep viewing the landscape of the discourse on films, on cinema, on podcasts, on YouTube. I know there are so many different ways that people connect with viewers and audiences and just other creators, and I know that for me to be automatically against all those ways would just make me a grumpy man yelling at clouds, but it's always good to just explain where we're coming from in comparison to things that we either just don't want to do or we actively dislike. I know I moan a lot about podcasts that just relate the entire plot of a film, but it is a huge bugbear, and some of those podcasts have really sort of big listener bases, and it's bizarre. As I say, it's the difference between kind of your primary one book review and your 7th year book report, when you understand what criticism is and what you're looking to present to get your grade. That's what it is. There's a lot of primary 1 stuff out there and not as much year 7 stuff. And people like the the plot descriptions, they like the summaries clearly, but there's that much out there that I'm just always wanting to implore people again to, allow yourself to pick and choose and treat yourself to some good stuff, not just the Premiere One stuff. I don't know. That's maybe a bit snotty and patronising, possibly. I'm not sure. I apologise if it seems that way. It is what it is. As I say, it's interesting to view the landscape and see. We had our own thing with Raiders of the Lost podcast being very similar to our name, and then checking them out. And I'm not picking a fight with them. They have their I wouldn't say gimmick, but their brand. They are, I think they're twins, and they discuss movies and they put out a lot of content. And I saw some clips where a lot of it was discussing the movie and what bits they liked and what bits they didn't like, but in more straightforward, this is how the movie plays out terms. But maybe I saw those bits out of context. But it was interesting to have that time, particularly on Twitter, when we were on Twitter, where we would sometimes get a crossover from listeners, and I was always tempted to try and bring people over to our podcast, surreptitiously sneak them in, but I never did. But it made me look around even further beyond the boundaries of what I have, and I have a lot. I think my current podcast count for stuff on my phone has got to be about 160, 170. And with my OCD slightly nature to them, I always want to listen from the earliest point possible and try and listen to every episode. So I will not be done with those podcasts before I die. That's just not going to happen. So there we go. Right. Yeah, this has been even weaker and more incoherent than usual, and I apologise. I'm going to have a busy week at work. I've got a lot of overtime, and I do that because I know I'll be picking up some more movies. I've got some more stuff due, and hopefully when any of that arrives at any point soon, I will show them in a video and be able to have a better video for you. Enjoy your week. I hope this video wasn't too painful and annoying, and I'll see what I come up with next week.